Welcome back to Fantasy Football in 5. Last week was our Week 4 start and sit-ems. This week will be Week 5.
So if you haven't heard about our channel, hit the big red button below. Okay, so start off with the quarterback start-em sit-ems. We want you to start Tom Brady, Derek Carr, and Jameis Winston.
Now Tom Brady, he's back from his suspension, and he's going up against the worst defense in the NFL in the Cleveland Browns, so start him.
And for sits, Cam Newton, Matt Stafford, and Brock Osweiler.
Now, not Brock Osweiler, excuse me. Cam Newton, you're wondering why he's the MVP. Well, because the past 2 weeks he's gotten 15 or less points, and he's going up against the Atlanta Falcons, or not the Atlanta Falcons, just kidding, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I think it'll be a tough matchup. A few running backs to start this week. We have LaShawn McCoy, Eddie Lacy, and Jordan Howard.
Now, Jordan Howard really came onto the scene in his first start last week. He had, I think, double-digit points, so keep on starting him against the Colts.
All I can say is, did I call it or did I call it? Anyways, running backs to sit this week, would be Lamar Miller, DeMarco Murray, and Tevin Coleman.
Yeah, Tevin Coleman, he has a sickle cell trait, and they're playing in Denver this week, so that means he most likely will not play, but if he does, don't expect him to play much at all. Okay, so some starts at wide receiver. Jordy Nelson, Mike Evans, Julian Edelman, and Eddie Royal.
Now, Eddie Royal, he's going to be wide receiver number 2 out there in Chicago with Kevin White injured. So look for Brian Hoyer to target him a lot, as Eddie Royal has come on, as of late, a lot.
Now, sits DeAndre Hopkins, Dez Bryant, Randall Cobb, and Marcus Wheaton. 3 big names.
Now, DeAndre Hopkins, he last week had 1 catch for like 4 yards, and this week he's going up against a tough defense in the Minnesota Vikings, and roads closed. Expect him to get very little. A few tight ends that you want to start this week, we have Kyle Rudolph, Rob Gronkowski, and Zach Miller.
Now, obviously you would think to start Gronk, but he hasn't played well in the couple of weeks he's been back, but Tom Brady's back, which means Gronk's fantasy season is back.
Yep. Alright, a few tight ends to sit now. We have Eric Ebron, Charles Clay, and Dwayne Allen.
Charles Clay is the Buffalo Bills tight end. Tyrod Taylor has liked him quite a bit, but this week he has a tough matchup against the LA Rams, who've had a pretty stingy defense of late, so sit Charles Clay this week. Okay, so some defenses to start. The Cardinals, our favorite Vikings, and the New England Patriots.
Now, the New England Patriots, last week they played absolutely horrid against the Buffalo Bills, but this week, expect them to play a lot better now that Tom Brady is back, and they're going to have a little more invigoration on the defensive side.
And they're going to have fun because they're playing Cleveland. I mean, come on. Some sits, the Texans, the Giants, and the New York Jets.
Now, the Texans, you're probably wondering, why are you saying to sit them? Well, J.J. Watt, if you haven't heard, he is injured, he won't be playing, and the Texans defense is going up against the Minnesota Vikings. Alright, now for the most important fantasy position of all, kicker. So, startums at kicker, we have Josh Brown, Dan Bailey, and Brandon McManus.
Now, Dan Bailey, we really like him as a fantasy kicker. They're going up against Cincinnati this week, who haven't done a terrible job limiting teams to touchdowns, so Dan Bailey would be a great start this week.
And then to sit, we have Dustin Hopkins, Matt Prater, and Chandler Catanzaro.
Chandler Catanzaro has had a nice history of missing field goals and extra points. They have a Thursday night matchup this week against the San Francisco 49ers, and expect the Cardinals offense to score touchdowns, which really isn't what you want from your kicker because it's 1 point per extra point.
Alright, a few guys that we want you guys to pick up. We have Eddie Royal, as we talked about before. We have Cameron Brate, tight end for the Buccaneers, and Jordan Howard.
Cameron Brate's a real favorite target for Winston in Tampa Bay, and he's had a lot of production recently in fantasy terms, so he's another great guy to pick up in your leagues. We picked him up. Yeah. And so, pick guys to drop. Tevin Coleman, Kevin White, he's now on the IR, so I kind of want to drop him if you have him. And the Jets defense, they've been reeling a lot recently, and they're going up against the Steelers, who had like 40-some points against the Chiefs last week. Alright, that was Fantasy Football in 5. Thank you for watching. We literally are fantasy news in 5 minutes, so because honestly, who would want to watch a 30-minute video on this topic?
Amen.
So this was our Week 5 start sit-em and Week 2 strategy. We hope your fantasy team won last week.
Because our fantasy team did not, because we went up against Julio Jones, who scored 40-some points. Ridiculous.
Still in the playoff hunt in 6th place, so wish us luck and see you next week.